Hello and welcome. You're watching Don Bosco Media Network. This is Abigail R. Kharmalim bringing to you the Salesian news across the globe. Today, Don Bosco participated in the screening of the winning short films of the Don Bosco Global Youth Film Festival, DBGYFF, held in New York on 17 to 18 October. CDA Don Bosco, faithful to its educational mission and commitment to the complete formation of its students, participated in the third edition of the festival focused on the theme, I Have a Dream, Young People and Climate Change, Making Mother Earth a Cleaner and Greener Place. During the screening, the students watched some of the winning short films, which invited them to reflect on climate change, analyzing both its causes and individual and collective actions to mitigate this problem. The activity was organized by the Department of Social Communication and involved students from the Don Bosco Vocational Technical School, in particular students from the 2nd and 11th classes. The young people showed great interest and actively participated, sharing ideas about the environmental crisis and possible solutions for their environment. CDA Radio was also involved, providing support in the dissemination of the short films. The Lexit Nos, Pope Francis' fourth encyclical, retraces the tradition and relevance of thought on the human and divine love of the heart of Jesus Christ, calling for a renewal of authentic devotion to avoid forgetting the tenderness of faith, the joy of serving, and the fervor of mission. He loved us, St. Paul says of Christ in Romans chapter 8 verse 37, in order to make us realize that nothing can ever separate us from that love. Romans chapter 8 verse 39. Thus begins Pope Francis' fourth encyclical, which takes its title from the opening words, De Lexit Nos. The encyclical is dedicated to the human and divine love of the heart of Jesus Christ. His open heart has gone before us and waits for us unconditionally, asking only to offer us his love and friendship, the Pope writes in the introductory paragraph. For he loves us first, from the first letter of John chapter 4 verse 10. Because of Jesus, we have come to know and believe in the love that God has for us, from the first letter of John chapter 4 verse 16. In our societies, the Pope writes, we are also seeing a proliferation of varied forms of religiosity that have nothing to do with a personal relationship with the God of love, while Christianity often forgets the tender consolations of faith, the joy of serving others, the fervor of personal commitment to mission. The research or reflection of the auxiliary bishop of the Greek Catholic Exarchate of Donus, Salesian Bishop Maxim Yabuka, on what can be constructive and edifying in a destructive context such as that of war continues. In this third contribution, the Salesian prelate identifies the proximity of a church united to her flock in the difficult time of trial. With the people, the church suffers. The church is the people who suffer. Without being too mystical, the church is first of all the Christians who experience this time in the hope and trust of the presence of God. And then it is its representatives and its places and means that are found where people are. We could say, a sacrament of God's presence in life's places. People need someone to keep hope awake and wipe away tears. Many are looking for places to continue invoking the name of the Prince of Peace. Numerous prayer groups of both young people and adults have come into existence and continue to be faithful. In the Salesian house in Kiev, they are at the 1000th day of daily prayer to Mary, help of Christians, that she may protect the young enlisted men and all the families and obtain from God the gift of victory over evil and of just and lasting peace. But not only that, there are numerous parish groups of mothers in prayer, groups of fathers called Knights of Columbus youth groups. Youth attending programs at the Salesian Madre del Salvador Center in the Santa Marta neighborhood in the parish of La Merced, Ecuador, have a new recreation and sports area thanks to donor funding from Salesian Missions, the U.S. development arm of the Salesians of Don Bosco. Youth and their families in the area live in situations of vulnerability, poverty, and danger from violence due to gangs and drug trafficking. Located on the Esmeraldas River, the area also suffers from flooding and high pollution. Youth need a refuge and a place to feel safe, and the donation impacted the lives of 143 youth. Salesians were able to use donor funding to make the recreation area of the center more welcoming, secure and accessible, so youth have a proper environment to play sports and engage in recreational activities with their peers. A Salesian missionary explained, this project permitted the construction of a synthetic soccer field and additional recreational areas. The joy of the children and youth is evident. The new spaces have changed the environment and youth feel a sense of belonging and dignity. This investment reinforces our commitment to providing a more dignified quality of life. For 16 years, the Corsa dei Santi has gathered athletes and running enthusiasts on 1st November every year in an initiative that celebrates sport, honors the solemnity of All Saints and supports international solidarity. This year, the sports event through the historic center of Rome seeks to highlight the project of the Salesians of Don Bosco in Ukraine to support through sports the moral and education of children and young people who remain in the country, as well as the social reintegration of those who have been disabled and mutilated by war. Almost 3 years after the beginning of the conflict in Ukraine, the war continues to cause serious damage and suffering to the population. Essential infrastructure such as schools and hospitals are in ruins, and it may seem inappropriate to talk about sports and the need to support sports activities and facilities. However, Ukrainian children and young people need to find some peace and serenity, not tomorrow, not after reconstruction, but already today, because it is today that they need it. Those who do not have the power to stop the war, however, can contribute to creating conditions of everyday life and offer spaces of serenity. So viewers, with that we have come to the end of today's edition. Till we meet again, thank you for joining us.